I've gotten messages from Spirit all my life, but the one I've never gotten is that there is a hell. The first one to teach me that was my dad, and I hope I can tell you this without crying. He died when I was only 6 years old, and that was long before I considered myself a medium. And at that very young age, I was faced with the idea of eternal damnation for the very first time. Because where I grew up, here in the Deep South, if somebody did bad things, they weren't getting into heaven. And my daddy was no saint. First of all, he was a drinker, and it led to his passing. It wasn't intentional, but it did play a part of it. He'd been to jail several times because he liked to pick fights with cops. About 5 at a time, even though he was all of 5'0". So yeah, he could be wild. But he was also one of the kindest, most loving, do anything in the world for you kind of guy. So I just couldn't accept as a 6-year-old that my daddy was being punished forever. Once I started my work as a medium, countless spirits have confirmed what I thought was just a child's wish, that I didn't want to think of my daddy suffering, into a true confirmation that hell does not exist. People who've unalived themselves or didn't meet society's standards of good come through just as easily as your dear grandma or your best friend. They're not suffering. Once they crossed over, they saw how their actions affected others, and their soul grew from that. But they are not roasting eternally. This is why I can never reconcile the idea of a loving God punishing his children forever for being the thing he made them to be, human. So to my dad, I sure do miss you, and I hope you're still giving them hell.